Well, you New York Jets fans, you certainly are worried today, aren't you? I guess this means they're not going to the Super Bowl just quite yet after that pathetic performance last night. Hey guys, Al DeMarco here. This is going to be your Tuesday video report. I've got a free play in baseball coming up in just a moment. You know, there are two things I pointed out in yesterday's analysis for my 10-time winner on the Baltimore Ravens. First of all, I happen to be living in Philadelphia when Buddy Ryan, Rex Ryan's father, was the head man in Philly in charge of the Eagles, and Rex Ryan reminds me much of his father. Lots of bravado, a lot of bold statements, but often his team simply couldn't back it up. And I think we saw like father like son, or maybe it's like son like father, last night because the Jets, what a miserable, pathetic performance when you're playing on national TV in the regular season home opener at your new stadium you're sharing with the Giants, and you lay an egg like that. Absolutely horrific performance. Number two, I thought that Thomas Jones's departure was going to come back and bite the Jets in the ass, and I think it certainly did last night. You know, one thing, guys, by virtue of doing so many media appearances for TV and radio, not only, I follow every single team in college and pro anyway. I spend 4 to 5 hours a day just reading sports pages from across the country via the internet. I love doing it. I'm a junkie for that stuff. I don't care about computer trends and all that type of ATS BS. To me, I base my gambling picks, my selections I'm releasing to you, my personal wagers on a talent evaluation. It's something that's carried over from being a fan when I was a kid to being a reporter for a number of years. Nothing has changed. And my skill set really depends on knowing and evaluating talent for these teams. But a sidebar to that is because you do so many media, TV, radio type interviews is that, for example, if I'm in Philadelphia, you better believe I better know what's going on with the Eagles because nobody cares about what my best bet might be that week. All they care about is whether or not I get the Eagles pick right. Or I tell everybody like I did last week, not only the Packers would beat the Eagles, but Penn State would beat Alabama. To wit, I happen to be up in New York the past 3 years on SNY television doing the New York Daily News. So I really went overboard in terms of immersing myself in following the Jets and the Giants, got to know the beat writers, got to know really what was going on with both of these teams. I saw the Jets' improvement last year naturally like the rest of you did. But I was just simply not impressed that much with Mark Sanchez, as I pointed out in my analysis yesterday. This is a guy who last year during the regular season simply completed 58% of his passes with 12 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. And bulky knees, that does not inspire confidence for me in terms of a team that Rex Ryan thinks has the talent to go to the Super Bowl. The other thing that I noticed about the Jets last year, following them so intently, is that late in the season and through their amazing playoff run, it was Sanchez playing better, but Sanchez was playing better because his running game was giving him tremendous ground support and it was extremely productive. I thought the departure of Thomas Jones, as I said earlier, was going to come back and bite them in the ass, and I think you saw that last night because Shonn Greene is not ready to be a featured back. Tremendously talented guy, as I pointed out in my analysis yesterday, but as you saw last night, 2 costly fumbles, 1 drop pass then early in the second half. That's his problem. He is turnover prone. Talented, but turnover prone. But I think last night's game turned with about 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Remember, Jets had been driving down the field. They had a 4th and 1 at the 10-yard line. 4th and 1. They're up 3-0, and you know how good the Ravens defense is. Rex Ryan elected to go for a very makeable 28-yard field goal instead of going to get that first down. First, I thought it was a huge coaching mistake because when you've got the Ravens on the rope and it's a 3-0 game, you go for the jugular because 6-0 doesn't mean squat. You needed that touchdown. But why didn't Rex Ryan go? Maybe he didn't have any faith in Shonn Greene or LT. Now, LaDainian Tomlinson, the LT that we knew 5-6 years ago, he would have picked up those yards. The guy who definitely would have picked up those yards, it would have been Thomas Jones. A guy who bench presses like close to 400 pounds, is a guy who just drags tacklers through the line of scrimmage, a guy who, very underrated, even though he's coming off 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Well, he's now plying his trade in Kansas City last night. Jets didn't get that first down, didn't even attempt to go for it, settled for the field goal. Hey, you want to know why they lost the game? I say it was right there. Forget all the other factors. That was the most crucial one in that contest. Now, as for me, take the 10-dime winner on Baltimore. I told you going into yesterday's action, I told you that I went 3-0 with the free picks on Sunday, and although I happened to lose with the one game I told you to bet on, and I personally bet on with the Cowboys, knowing that I was on with the Browns, telling you to buy up the half point to get the cover of Tampa, the Packers over the Eagles, and Pittsburgh outright over Atlanta. I knew that I was right on the money, especially after I was coming off the 3-0 sweep in college football on Saturday. Cashed in with Baltimore last night. That's a 7-2 NFL run dating back to the second to last week in preseason play. Past 3 years now in the NFL. This is preseason, regular season, postseason combined. 57, 33, and 3. Hitting 21 of my last 33 picks along the way, and you can see the net profit. It's a little further down the page. I think off the top of my head, it's 358 dimes in that span. So, Baltimore gets the job done, and quickly before getting to your free pick here, let's recap week number 1 in the NFL because it was quite surprising. I've told anybody that would listen that it's been based on my experience that the first week of the NFL, the favorites are generally the money in the bank play. Was not the case this week at all. Absolutely not, because the chalks got hammered. Listen, bottom line is the favorites were 7-8-1 against the spread. Now, I say hammered because the fact is, I don't care. If you're not 3 or 4 games over 500 in that record, in terms of being the chalks versus the dogs, you got hammered. 7-8-1, the favorites went against the spread. Road favorites, 3-5 versus the spread. And look at some of these favorites that failed to cover. Both favorites, of course, on Monday night, right? The Jets and the Chargers. The Saints, Chicago, Indianapolis, San Francisco. These are some quality teams here that failed to get the number. And as I always say, when dogs are barking, only 2 things are happening, and they're both bad. Sportsbooks are making a lot of money, and you, the gambler, you're generally losing a lot of money because basic human nature, you are inclined to always favor the favorites. You're inclined to bet on the favorites. It's, like I said, basic human nature. Other stats just to update you for, the straight-up winners. Again, crystal ball time. Straight-up winners this week went 13-2-1 against the spread. That after hitting in a 92% during the preseason. That after going 82% coverage last year, preseason, regular season, and Super Bowl or playoffs combined. 13-2-1 start there. The under went 4-8-2. With your selections this week. I'm sorry, 4-10-2. The under went 4-10-2. Monday night, dating back to last season, Monday night underdogs have now covered 9 of the last 13 on Monday nights, and 8 of the last 10 Monday night games have stayed under the posted total as well. So that'll recap it all for you. We'll be talking college football here the next couple of days as we prepare for your Thursday night action. As for your free pick today, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go with the Houston Astros at home, where they've reeled off 5 straight wins against the Milwaukee Brewers, and they have won 17 of their last 23 home games overall. This has been a red-hot team since the All-Star break. They're going with Norris here tonight. They have won 8 of Bud Norris's last 9 starts. Meanwhile, Milwaukee going with Chris Capuano, who you must realize he has had 2 Tommy John surgeries over the past few years. In his 3 starts since returning to the rotation, he has a 4.80 earned run average. The Brewers have dropped 6 of their last 7 at home, including last night's 4-2 decision in the first game of the series. So once again, I'm going to go and take the Houston Astros in this one at a virtual pick'em game at home. I think the price is right, certainly in this contest. Once again, Houston is going to be the free selection. And guys, I will catch you again on Wednesday with your college football breakdowns as we start, as I said, taking a look at your Thursday card and another free pick selection for you. Good luck, everybody.